Last time on Unsealed, we talked about one of the cool features of the Wii Remote, which is being able to use it to play light gun games such as The House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return and Ghost Squad, among other games. Light gun games being some of my favorites from arcades, or even the NES era games like Hogan's Alley and Duck Hunt. So being able to have a Wii Remote instead of a light gun and using kind of like an IR pointer instead of the light gun functionality made for a bit more accuracy and a more fun experience, I think, in my opinion. I would have loved to have seen Duck Hunt or Hogan's Alley revisited for the Wii, but alas, it didn't happen. One of the other cool features about the Wii Remote and the pointer feature is that you could play rather original or unique games, such as the one that I'm about to cover. This is 2007's Trauma Center New Blood, published by Atlas for the Wii. This is based on the Trauma Center series, or based around the Trauma Center series, which debuted on the Nintendo DS. And it was a really fascinating series of games where you use the Nintendo DS stylus to perform surgery or do other medical procedures. It was really interesting. Now, I've got to tell you, I am not a fan of doctors. I don't want to use the word hate because I appreciate what it is they do, but I hate going. I have to be in really bad health to go to a doctor. The last time I went to a hospital was 2013 when I was passing a kidney stone, and that was expensive. And then the last time I went to urgent care to see a doctor was like 2 or 3 years ago because I was having coughing fits, and that was just a waste of money because there was nothing that they could do for me. But the reason I hate going there is because it's like being stuck in an interrogation room. They ask me a whole bunch of questions about my blood pressure and my diet and this and that, and it makes me more stressed to be in a doctor's office than any other time in my job, worrying about deadlines, being stuck in traffic. None of that compares to being in a doctor's office or in a hospital. It just makes my blood pressure go through the roof. But this particular game, and also the Trauma Center games for the DS, as well as Trauma Team for the Wii, which I'm hoping to land for a future episode of Unsealed, those games at least let me appreciate the medical profession just a bit more because it puts me in the driver's seat. It puts me in control. And while there's certainly a measure of tension there because a patient can live or die based on your skill, ability, and reflex, it's at least A, fake, and B, it puts me in control rather than me being at the mercy of someone else. So here we see you may not be a doctor, but you can play one on the Wii. I love that tagline. I do like the character artwork as well, and we'll go ahead and read the back of the case here as well. Trauma Center New Blood puts you inside the OR as Doctors Marcus Vaughn and Valerie Blaylock. The Wii Remote is your scalpel, forceps, syringe, and more. The award-winning medical drama continues with an infusion of new operations, a new two-player co-op mode, and new online rankings, which sadly don't exist anymore because the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection is no longer a thing. A new challenge calls for new blood. Have you got what it takes? And today we're going to go ahead and we're going to open this up and we're going to see what is on the inside. So I have my trusty, not a scalpel, but I do have scissors here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open the side, I think. There we go. And we're going to see about the instruction manual and just talk about the game in general. And then I'll share some of my other experiences with the, briefly, with the Trauma Center games because I do really enjoy the series. So when we open up the case here, hopefully the disc hasn't moved around too much. So there's not a lot going on here. The disc is very plain in black and white, and we do have a manual, again, with the character art on the front. And we're going to take a look at the manual. We're going to focus on that, as we always do. So we take a look at the manual. The manual is in color, and it is fairly sizable. It's about 26 pages in length, and I'll show you what some of the manual pages look like. In fact, we'll take a look at the two character summaries right here, Dr. Vaughn and Dr. Blaylock right there. Again, I do like the character art. It's very Atlas-y. I guess if you're thinking about an Atlas game and what some of the characters might look like, that springs to mind. It's very similar. In terms of a storyline, there's not really much except for a prologue here. It says, Alaska, the frozen northern extremity of America. Come April, the harsh winter begins to loosen its grip on the land. The seemingly endless nights grow shorter day by day, and the frozen wilderness starts to thaw. In the heart of this majestic setting lies a small town not far from Fairbanks, whose weary inhabitants eagerly await the arrival of spring. Montgomery Memorial Hospital watches over the town like an old man, and in this remote hospital toil two doctors who are about to be swallowed by the jaws of fate. Ooh, sounds interesting. So we also have information about some of the background characters in the game as well. I had forgotten that this takes place in Alaska in a more remote locality. So the basic idea, if you haven't played the trauma center games, is you basically play the role of a doctor, and there are patients that come into the ER and to the hospital for a variety of conditions. Some of them have been in car accidents and have shards of glass stuck in them. Some of them have cancerous growths that need to be removed. Others have polyps. There are a variety of different situations that you as a doctor have to be able to diagnose and then treat within a reasonably short time frame. And what adds to the tension is that if you make a mistake, the patient's vitals are adversely affected, and you only have so much time to complete the operation A, and B, there are only so many recovery materials that you have to try and keep the patient alive before you can lose that patient. So it does get tense, but at the same time, it is really fun to play, and you learn a thing or two about medical procedures. It's not going to make you a doctor in real life, but you can appreciate what some doctors do. This is, at least some of it, is based on medical science, and there are some things here that are completely original and way out of left field, but that's what makes the games pretty interesting. They are fun to play. They are not that expensive to get, and there are 3 of them for the Wii if you're interested. The first is Trauma Center Second Opinion, which is a remake of the first Trauma Center game for the DS. New Blood here is the second game for the Wii, and then there's an original game called Trauma Team, which has different medical roles, I believe. There are 3 of them, if I remember right. And that game's actually starting to come up a bit in terms of value for the Wii, but if you can find it, it is a worthy get. All 3 games make great use of the Wii Remote, and it never feels unfair. They are fun to play. Some of the stages are certainly going to take multiple tries, and there may be a little bit of frustration here and there, but I do recommend them. They are a lot of fun to play. So again, this has been a look at Trauma Center New Blood. This is from 2007. Second Opinion was from 2006. I picked this up for, I believe it was $18 new, so you should be able to find that for cheaper, complete in box, if you're looking at your local game store or perhaps on eBay, and I think that it is a worthwhile get. So this week's episode has been a bit early, as I'm going to be heading to Retro World Expo this weekend. I'm hoping to see some of you there. But in the meantime, thank you very much for checking out this and all of my episodes of Unsealed. I really do appreciate it. And until the next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time. Take care.